Hi, Richard from Electric Classic Cars here. I've been asked quite a few times now for a longer video on my Crewcab, so I've just watched it, the sun's out, ideal opportunities, so I'll give you a quick run through of the vehicle, covering some of the aesthetics and upgrades that we've done, as well as some of the electrical side of things. So starting on the front here, I've done my usual sort of like aesthetics thing that I like to do for my own vehicles, which is dechrome it and kind of satin black a number of things. So you got your headlight rims, your VW badge, indicator, surrounds, bumpers, some various different trims, including the roof, is all been done in satin black. This actually used to be a fire engine in South Africa when I got it, so it was in pretty good nick when we got it, but we've still done a full restoration to the vehicle when we received it as well, just to make sure that everything is good, because you never know what's underneath the skin of some vehicles. So coming around to the side here, so again some satin black elements such as the, if we get out of the sun here, we've done an upgrade on the wheels, so we've got Porsche cookie cutter wheels on here, 7-inch wide, gives us a bit more grip around the corners. We've done things like an upgraded anti-roll bar as well, the Porsche calipers and discs below the are behind the wheels as well. So again, we've got things like satin black door handles. Some of the more difficult things to get in satin black were actually some of the window surrounds as well, which sometimes aren't even available in satin black, so a bit of more complication when we're working on those to get them satin black. 22 kilowatt charger on the vehicle, so you got a type 2 charge socket in there, so 7 kilowatt at home obviously, but 22 kilowatt max charging capacity in that. Cookie cutters on the rear. I've left the drum brakes actually on the rear because you get regenerative braking from the electric motor, so you don't normally need to upgrade the rear brakes on these things. So if you slide over there, I'll cover the rear. So you've got things like a Volkswagen rather than the Volkswagen badge on there, just a small little touch there, and again gone with that satin black feel to things like the engine lids, lock, and the bumpers and the light surrounds. But the main difference you can see is when I open up this lid, there's no engine in there. So this is actually a really practical boot space for me, because this is where my toolboxes and other bits and pieces go, and it's lockable as well, so it's really handy. So in here we have some radiators for the inverter and the motor that we've got underneath, and also the header tank. And if you actually pop your camera underneath there, you'll see, well, you need that, so we've got a 450 horsepower large Tesla drive unit sitting underneath there as well. So that gives me about a 0 to 60 of about 5 seconds, which for a vehicle like this is a bit nuts. Also a tow bar as well, because we use this vehicle quite a bit in work for taking vehicles up to the spray shop and back, and picking up vehicles and delivering them. As I say, we use this as a work truck, but also as a family vehicle. So this pickup bit on the back is really practical. We've got a tonneau cover on it at the moment because it's winter, so just to protect the thing from the elements a little bit. So I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up because it's quite dark, but it's a really big space underneath there, so it's really handy when you're throwing surfboards and things like that on the weekend, or bits of metal and other bits and pieces when you're in work mode. So yeah, super practical vehicle. Took me a long time to actually find the right vehicle. I knew I wanted an early bay, and I knew I wanted a crew cab. If we go into the interior, I don't know if you can slide yourself in there. I'll cover off the interior. We've got a full retrim in the interior. If I slide myself into the front here, slide over to the driver's seat. So the interior's had a full retrim, all the seats, door panels, the dash top as well, and the bump bar at the back's all been trimmed out beautifully by our awesome trimmers that are literally called Awesome Auto Trimmers as well. So one difference you'll see if you know your bays is this screen here. So usually in all of our classic car conversions we don't actually make any changes if we can to the dashboards, but because this is my own vehicle and I quite like to try different things, fine-tune things. I'm an eternal tinkerer. Rather than get the laptop out each time, I put this touchscreen solution in, which enables me to go into some of the settings and change them again and change them back again, etc. So this is something that's normally not in the customer's cars, but it's in mine. So if you pop over to my right hand shoulder, you'll see the petrol gauge here. This is usually what we do for most cars. We repurpose the petrol gauge as the battery state of charge meter. So if I turn the car on, you zoomed in okay on that? Yeah. So if I turn the car on, you'll see that now moves, and that's essentially representing how much battery is left in the car. So I don't know if you can also pick it up, but as a joke, I made the car turn the oil light on every time the car is actually on, so I know the vehicle's on because it's pretty much silent otherwise. So you've seen the touch screen here as well. So this has D, N and R, so we've got drive, neutral and reverse. We've also got the speed and RPM. So this is a basic screen setup. I can actually go into this into more diagnostic setup and also program many parameters up in there as well. But it's so simple to drive because essentially all you need to do is put your foot down on the brake, put it into D for drive, and then just slowly put your foot down. And I mean slowly, because we got 450 horsepower to play with. So you don't need to do much to be able to spin the wheels at the back, that's for sure. So if I leave the vehicle on, actually, let's just show you where the battery pack is, because it's underneath the seat where the cameraman is. So if I let him out, out you come. Actually, just before we do that, I'll show you the BMS screen. So this is a BMS display. So BMS stands for Battery Management System. So this is babysitting the actual battery to make sure the cells are all within the parameters and balance the cells if they're starting to get out of kilter. But we can also see things like the total voltage for the pack, and if you click on the screen here, you can go and see some of the individual cell voltages as well. It's a really practical screen for me to use as an engineer. So what I really wanted to show you is actually underneath the back seat. So if I pop in here, okay, if I pop the back seat up, you'll see it's still a big luggage space underneath here. So as I say, when we pop into the beach for a camping trip or anything, we can throw lots of stuff underneath here as well. But this is the battery pack. So it goes the width of the vehicle. It's a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack out of a Tesla Model X. Gives me about 250, 200 mile range, maybe 300 mile range if you take it easy. So it's a really practical amount of range in this vehicle as well. I'll probably end up charging it once a week, if that. So there we are, my 1969 Crewcab. So as I say, this is my it's not my only vehicle. I have a couple of Beetles as well, but it's my certainly my vehicle I use every day to go back and forth to work, and we use it a lot as a family and a work vehicle, and I'd be lost without it. So there you go. Hope that's answered most of your questions.